You wake up, check your phone, and the first thing you see is someone your age doing better than you. They've got the car, the apartment, the soft life, the "I just closed another deal" post. And you're sitting there thinking, what am I doing wrong? Because here's the thing. You're not lazy. You're not stupid. You're not even behind. But somehow you're stuck. Same income range. Same financial stress. Same cycle every single year. And if we're being honest, deep down, you already know something isn't adding up. Look, this is going to sound uncomfortable, but it needs to be said. The biggest reason 95% of people stay poor is not because of money. It's because of a mindset. And not the fluffy, think positive nonsense you've heard 1,000 times. I'm talking about a deeply ingrained way of thinking that quietly controls your decisions, your habits, your risks, and ultimately, your results. And the scary part? Most people don't even know they have it. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine two people. Same background. Same education. Same opportunities. One ends up financially free. The other struggles forever. What changed? It wasn't luck. It wasn't connections. It was how they think. Because money doesn't respond to effort the way you think it does. It responds to behavior. And behavior is driven by mindset. Now here's where it gets interesting. There's a pattern, almost like a hidden script, that 95% of people follow without realizing. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. It starts with something very simple. The paycheck mindset. Most people are trained from childhood to think like this. Work hard, through money, send it, repeat. Sounds normal, right? That's the problem. It is normal. But normal is exactly what keeps people broke. Because when your entire financial life revolves around a paycheck, you're playing a game you can never win. Think about it. You get paid, and immediately, money starts leaving your account. Food, transport, subscriptions you forgot you even signed up for. And maybe, if you're lucky, you save a little. But that saving never really grows into anything meaningful. Because inflation eats it. Emergencies wipe it out. Life happens. So you go back to what you know. Work harder. Chase a higher salary. Hope the next paycheck fixes everything. But it never does. Because the problem isn't how much you earn. It's how you think about money. Let me break this down in a way that might sting a little. Most people see money as something to spend. Wealthy people see money as something to use. Big difference. One mindset says, I finally got paid, let me enjoy it. The other says, how can this money make more money? And that one shift changes everything. There's actually data behind this. A study from the National Bureau of Economic Research found that long-term wealth isn't strongly tied to income levels, but to financial behavior patterns. In simple terms, it's not what you earn. It's what you do with what you earn. And most people are doing the same things over and over again. Buying liabilities instead of assets. Chasing status instead of stability. Spending to feel better instead of building something that actually improves their life. Let's talk about that for a second. Because this one is dangerous. Spending to feel better. You know exactly what I mean. You've had a stressful week, so you order food you didn't plan for. You feel behind in life, so you buy something expensive just to feel like you're making progress. You see someone else winning, and suddenly you want to upgrade your lifestyle. It's emotional spending, and it's one of the biggest traps out there, because it gives you short-term satisfaction at the cost of long-term progress. It's like drinking salt water when you're thirsty. Feels like it helps, but it actually makes things worse. Now here's where most people go wrong. They think the solution is discipline. Let me just control myself more. Let me budget better. Look, discipline matters. But if your mindset is still wired to consume first, you're always going to fight yourself. And eventually, you'll lose. Because your habits are stronger than your intentions. So instead of fighting your behavior, you need to change the system behind it. And that starts with understanding this. There are two types of people financially: consumers and builders. Consumers earn money and use it to live. Builders earn money and use it to create systems that generate more money. Consumers ask, "Can I afford this?" Builders ask, "Will this make me money?" Consumers focus on comfort. Builders focus on leverage. And before you say, "Well, that sounds like rich people talk," let's be real for a second. Most wealthy people didn't start wealthy. They just stopped thinking like consumers. Let me give you a simple example. Person A gets a salary increase. They upgrade their phone, upgrade their wardrobe, move to a slightly nicer place. Person B gets the same increase. They invest in a skill, start a small side income, put money into something that grows. 5 years later, completely different lives. Same starting point, different mindset. Now here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't stay poor because they can't get ahead. They stay poor because they keep choosing comfort over growth. Single. And it's subtle. It's not like people wake up and say, "I want to stay broke." They say things like, "I'll start investing when I earn more. I need to enjoy life now. I don't have time to learn new skills." Sounds reasonable, but those are the exact thoughts that keep people stuck. Because they delay progress indefinitely. There's always a later. And later never comes. Let me challenge that thinking for a second. If more money was the solution, why do so many high-income earners still struggle financially? Why do lottery winners go broke? Why do athletes who earn millions end up bankrupt? It's not a money problem. It's a mindset problem. Because if you don't know how to manage and multiply money, more money just amplifies your bad habits. Now let's flip this. What does the winning mindset actually look like? It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. Instead of asking, "What can I buy?" you start asking, "What can I build?" Instead of thinking, "I can't afford this," you think, "How can I create a system that pays for this?" Instead of chasing quick wins, you focus on long-term leverage. And yes, it's slower at the beginning. Let's not sugarcoat it. Building wealth is boring at first. There's no instant gratification. No flashy results. No one is clapping for you. But over time, it compounds. And compounding is where the magic happens. Here's a simple way to think about it. Imagine pushing a car. At first, it's hard. Nothing moves. Feels pointless. But if you keep pushing, eventually, the car starts rolling. And once it's rolling, it becomes easier. That's how wealth works. But most people quit before the car even moves. Because they expect fast results from slow systems. And that mismatch destroys progress. Now let's talk about something most people avoid. Because this is where mindset really shows up. Poor mindset avoids risk completely. Wealth mindset understands risk and manages it. Big difference. Avoiding all risk sounds safe. But in reality, it guarantees stagnation. Because growth requires discomfort. It requires uncertainty. It requires doing things that don't feel secure. Now, I'm not saying go gamble your money. That's not what this is. I'm saying learn to take calculated risks. Invest in skills. Try things. Adjust. Move again. Because every financially successful person you see took risks. The difference is, they didn't take blind risks. They took informed ones. And they learned fast. Now here's another mindset shift that changes everything. Stop trading time for money and start building systems. Look, jobs are important. They give you stability. But if your entire income depends on your time, there's a ceiling. You only have 24 hours. You can't scale that. So the goal isn't to quit your job tomorrow. The goal is to use your job to build something else. Something that can grow without you constantly being there. Could be a skill, a business, an investment, a digital asset. Something that decouples your income from your time. Because that's where real freedom comes from. And I know what you're thinking. I don't have enough time. I'm already busy. But let's be honest. It's not always a time problem. It's a priority problem. Because the same people who say they don't have time will spend hours scrolling, watching content, consuming instead of creating. And that loops us right back to the mindset. Consumers versus builders. Now let's zoom out for a second. Because this isn't just about money. It's about control. When you fix your financial mindset, you gain control over your life. You stop reacting and start designing. You stop surviving and start building. And that changes everything. But here's the catch. You can't do this halfway. You can't think like a builder on Monday and a consumer on Friday. It doesn't work like that. Consistency is the multiplier. Small decisions, repeated daily, shape your financial future. And yes, you're going to mess up sometimes. That's normal. But the goal is progress, not perfection. So here's what I want you to do. Starting today, become aware. Watch how you think about money. Watch your decisions. Ask yourself, am I acting like a consumer or a builder? Because that one question can literally change your life. Look, I'm not saying this is easy. If it was, everyone would be wealthy. But it's simple. And simple, done consistently works. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need a massive income. You don't need to figure everything out. You just need to start thinking differently and acting accordingly. Because at the end of the day, wealth isn't built in one big moment. It's built in small, consistent decisions over time. And the mindset behind those decisions? That's the real game. So if you've been feeling stuck, if you've been wondering why things aren't changing, maybe it's not your situation. Maybe it's your system. And systems can be changed. But only if you're willing to see the truth. And once you do, you'll never go back to thinking the same way again.